Almost as important as taking your checkpoints is the review afterwards. That's when we go over the questions and really go through the thinking of why each answer is correct and why the ones that aren't the right answers are wrong. So, number one, the purpose of keeping kids in sports is to A, provide information about youth sports, B, entertain readers with facts about sports, C, examine the rules of professional sports, or D, explain how to practice good sportsmanship. Well, one of the first things we know is just the title alone, keeping kids in sports. Probably not going to be about examining the rules of professional sports. So we can cross that one out. Then, because we've read this story, we know that the story was not all about entertaining us with facts about sports. So we can cross that answer off. Usually, there are two answer choices that are a 50-50 shot. So what you need to do is you need to figure out what makes them different. For A, provide information about youth sports. Well, I remember the story, and I remember there was a lot of information about youth sports. Okay, I'm going to leave that as one of my possibilities. D, explain how to practice good sportsmanship. There was information about how to practice good sportsmanship, but it was mainly for the parents and coaches to remember how to be good sports people. Well, I do know that they gave me some data in here, some statistics. 20 million kids a year register to play sports. 70% of them quit. They tell me mainly about how important it is for kids to play sports. So I believe our answer is A. I was right in my thinking. A is correct because overall, the article gives us information about youth sports. Number 2, the author organizes the selection by F, identifying the causes and effects of pressure on kids in sports, G, listing kids who play sports into different categories of performance, H, using a sequential order to explain how students develop through sports, or J, comparing kids who participate in sports with other kids who do not. When I think back about the story, they really didn't put kids into categories. I skipped F. I'm sorry. Identifying the causes and effects of pressure on kids in sports. I really think I want to hold on to that because I know that they did talk a lot about the causes and effects of kids, of the pressures from parents and coaches. So we know that G was not it because they didn't list and put people into categories. Using a sequential order to explain how students develop through sports. They really didn't put stuff in any order. It wasn't a first, second, and last story. J, comparing kids who participate in sports with other kids who do not. They didn't talk about kids who didn't participate in sports. So I bet my answer is F. It is. Look in paragraph 8. Note the word effect and kids have lots of pressure on them. Each paragraph gives an example why kids quit sports. 3. What does the word nemesis mean in paragraph 4? A, an accompanying idea. Let's start this way. Let's go back and let's read. Paragraph 4. Dr. Darrell J. Burnett is a sports psychologist, a father, and a youth league coach. He states that time and again, I see kids who have lost their initial joy in sports because they are preoccupied with feeling that they have somehow let their coach or parents down by not living up to adult expectations. In other words, pressure becomes the big nemesis. So, A, an accompanying idea. Pressure becomes the big. That does not sound like an idea that goes with it. B, a difficult rival to conquer. Nemesis. Sports becomes the big nemesis. I'm going to hold on to that one. C, a prize for an accomplishment. Well, it certainly didn't sound like anything good, so I don't think it's C. D, a goal one strives to achieve. It says, in other words, pressure becomes the big nemesis. Nobody actually tries to achieve pressure. So I think the answer is B. Good. We're right. In paragraph 4, not living up to adult expectation has a negative meaning. Therefore, nemesis has a negative meaning. Keywords in B is difficult, rival. Number 4, complete the outline below for paragraph 3. A, reasons kids drop out of sports. A, pressure to win. B, parents and coaches have unrealistic expectations. And C, okay, now I've got to choose which one of these goes in the blank that goes with these, because I'm looking for reasons that kids drop out of sports. Participating in a sport only for social reasons. That doesn't sound like a reason to drop out. Students don't like to lose. Now that does sound like a reason to drop out. So I'm holding on to G. H, parents do not enjoy sports. But we're not talking about the parents playing the sports. J, unrealistic comparisons to other athletes. I think that's the big one because I remember them saying stuff about that in the story. The correct answer is J, unrealistic comparisons to other athletes. In paragraph 3, the last sentence completes this outline. This leads to the second problem, when they compare themselves to other athletes. 5. Which definition best fits the meaning of broke as it is used in paragraph 5? Paragraph 5. The boy broke into tears because his dad had made him take 200 swings a day off the batting tee, 7 days a week. Wow. The boy broke into tears. So 1, to come apart or split into pieces. No, he didn't come apart. 2, to start abruptly. I'm going to hold on to that one. 3, to become known or published. No, he wasn't writing anything. He wasn't being published or he didn't become famous. 4, to escape. Well, he wasn't breaking out of anything. So I believe the answer is 1. I'm sorry, 2, to start abruptly. I said 1 and I really didn't mean that because we know he didn't come apart or split into pieces. He wasn't a pencil that could be broken. The boy abruptly, suddenly, or unexpectedly started to cry. Number 6. Which sentence expresses the main idea of the selection? F. Parents put pressure on their kids. Therefore, their kids stay on the teams. Yeah, that doesn't sound like what they were telling us at all. G. Kids should focus on the process of being on a team. Therefore, they are satisfied even if they are not superstars. That sounds a lot like what they were saying. I'm going to hold on to G. H. Coaches have unrealistic expectations. Therefore, their teams have fun playing the game. No, that is not what anyone was saying. J. The end product of the sport is the key. Therefore, winning builds character. That isn't what they told us at all. They told us that the process and learning to be good sportsmen and learning the game, those were what they were telling us was important. So I believe the answer is G. Good, we were right. The article focuses on kids' reactions to parents, coaches, and peers. So if kids focus on themselves, they won't give up easily. Number 7, choose the best summary for the passage. We know already that B was the best summary because this one has, first let's listen to it. Although research indicates all the advantages of having kids participate in sports, most of them drop out of the activities by the time they reach 13. The reason most kids discontinue sports is pressure from their parents, their peers, and especially themselves. Rather than focusing on being a star, kids and parents alike should emphasize the fun and learning process involved in simply participating in sports and reaping the benefits. Okay, and we already know that that's the right answer. The reasoning is all 3 sentences are overall and general ideas for the beginning, middle, and end. Because remember, for a summary, not only do we need to talk about the beginning, middle, and the end, but you need to make sure that you're not giving too many details that really don't matter to a summary. A summary is just hitting the high spots, just the ideas. Number 8, what is the most likely reason that the author has included paragraph 2 in the article? F, to describe the factors that motivate children to join sports. G, to give readers detailed information about various sports. H, to educate readers that sports are necessary for successful childhood. Or J, to compare the benefits and drawbacks of participating in sports. Let's go read paragraph 2 first. The evidence for staying in sports is strong, however. Research done in the 1990s showed that kids who stay in sports tend to stay in school. They also earn better grades and exhibit better behavior. Considering the effects, it is important for kids to stay motivated to play a sport once they start. And adults need to keep in mind why youngsters choose to play a sport in the first place. Many kids go out for a sport as a social event to spend some time with their friends. Others play just for the love of the game. Not everyone is determined to become a superstar. Okay, so why did they give me that paragraph? Were they trying to motivate kids to join sports? Maybe. Let's hold on to that one. G, to give readers detailed information about various sports. Well, they didn't even talk about a single specific sport, so no, not G. To educate readers that sports are necessary for a successful childhood. Well, no, they didn't say that it was necessary or you'd be unsuccessful without it. No, not H. J, to compare the benefits and drawbacks of participating in sports. Well, they didn't talk about any of the drawbacks. They didn't say a single reason why being in sports was bad. So it's not J. I say the answer is F. Good. We were right. Keyword in F, motivate. In paragraph 2, for kids to stay motivated to play a sport once they start. Number 9, the author uses a quotation from a sports psychologist in paragraph 5 to, that quotation, I saw a 10-year-old boy in my office, referred by his father, who wanted me to motivate him, says Burnett. The boy broke into tears because his dad made him take 200 swings a day off the batting tee, 7 days a week. The boy said he had wanted to spend more time with his buddies instead, but his dad said he'd never make the major leagues that way. Okay, why do we think that the author included that quote from the sports psychologist? To describe ways coaches can serve as mentors? No. B, emphasize how adults can negatively influence a child's interest in sports. Ooh, I think that's a definite maybe. C, establish the central purpose of the text. Not really. Explain that kids sometimes grow tired of demanding practice schedules. I mean, I guess that's a maybe, but I really think the answer is B. Yay, we were right. Correct answer, B. The boy broke into tears. The boy was so upset about having to practice his swinging. He had started to cry. The dad had a negative effect on his son, and the kid eventually quit baseball. Number 10. Which sentence from the selection supports the idea that kids should focus on participating in a sport rather than winning? F. First, both coaches and parents often have unrealistic expectations for playing. G. The kids eventually quit baseball altogether, feeling that he had failed his father. H. The youngsters who fall victim to making unrealistic comparisons between themselves and other athletes of greater ability also set themselves up for failure. J. These players are content with their improvement and any contribution they can make to the team. So F, we want to talk about the kids who are, which sentence supports the idea that kids should focus on participating in a sport rather than winning? Both coaches and parents have unrealistic expectations? No. G, the kids eventually quit baseball altogether? No. That one doesn't tell me anything about focusing on participation. The youngsters who fall victims to making unrealistic comparisons between themselves and others, okay, we're still not talking about just being good at participating, just playing for the love of the game. J, these players are content with their improvement and any contribution they can make to the team. I really think that the answer is J, because in that one, we're talking about the people who are playing because they love to play. They're hanging out with their friends, they're working hard, and if they win, great. If they don't, that's okay too. Good. We were right. The answer is J. Connecting the keyword in question to the keyword in the correct answer. Participating equals contribution. So right here, participating, it equals a contribution. Because if you're participating, you're doing stuff. and that means that you're adding 2.